Welcome to Real Estate 360, an informative and engaging hour discussing everything you need to know about the world of real estate. Your host, Mike Ambrosio, will provide you with insight and guidance on how to buy, sell, finance, and invest in real estate, and much more. And now, to guide you around the world of real estate, here's your host, Mike D'Ambrosio.
Welcome in. Good afternoon. This is Mike D'Ambrosio with Real Estate 360 Radio on AM 1220. KDOW, thank you so much for joining us this afternoon. We're talking anything and everything real estate, providing you great information and education. I have a great show in store for you today. My good buddy Scott Poncetta is live in studio. Just got here. Just rolled into the door like a celebrity, man. What's going on with that? Anyways, I'll introduce him in a couple of minutes. But just a reminder for those of you just tuning in, there's a couple different ways you can listen to our show. That is on the radio at KDOW 1220 AM, Monday through Friday. You can also listen to us live online at kdow.biz. And KDOW also has an app, so log into your app store and download it today, and you'll be able to listen to us anywhere and everywhere. Coming to you 5 days a week, Monday through Friday from 3 to 4 p.m. I'm on Mondays only. We're a live show, so we'd love to hear your questions and suggestions, and give us a call at 1-800-516-1220, 1-800-516-1220. Especially give us a call today. Scott loves to take your questions. He's been in the real estate business and real estate developing for a long time, so he's a wealth of information. So don't feel free to hesitate to give us a call and ask us any questions you want. And if you have any other suggestions on future topics, guests, or content you desire, we are open, and let us know. Finally, if you missed any shows or want to sign up for the updates, visit our website at RE360radio.com, RE360radio.com, or you can even email me, Mike, at RE360radio.com as well. All right, Scott, how's it going?
Hey, thanks for having me back, Mike. I appreciate it.
No problem. So Scott's with Intero, the Income Property Group. So typically when we have Scott on, we talk a lot about investment properties, multi-unit properties, etc. So we're gonna get into that in just a few minutes. But I kind of for a lot of the listeners that listen to Scott, and have heard him on the radio before, he does specialize in multi-unit properties. So I mean, how did you get into that? I mean, kind of describe maybe the path of your career, and how did you get into specializing into multi-unit? What attracts you about it, or maybe it just happened. I don't know. So maybe give a little bit of a background on that.
Hey, it hardly just happened. No, I did. It's been an interesting path. I got nothing back. I started in real estate in the early 90s.
Yeah.
And I'm going to make this kind of brief, but I started as a developer, and I started a little development company, and we did initially mostly flip opportunities and some custom builds, and then that built into building some small subdivisions. And that was a really good learning experience for me, about 10 years, all through the 90s.
Right.
So my part in that, I had partners that were actually the builders, and so I did all the financing, did all the architecture, marketed and sold those homes.
Right.
And so I got a world of information and knowledge from that experience. And then at the close of that decade, I actually thought that the market was about to turn, and I was very nervous about investing. These were all spec builds.
When was that, in the 90s or in 2000?
It was in late 90s.
Okay, yeah.
Late 90s, early 2000. And so I actually got very nervous. I was putting my name on very big loans and not knowing exactly what would happen. A lot of these things were 18 months to 24 months out. So I was getting kind of nervous.
Right.
So I ended up at that point shifting my focus into just the sales of residential real estate.
Right.
And so my building background has always been a real asset, but I shifted into residential sales primarily. And then after having done that for a number of years, I really started working with a lot of investors.
Right.
And so I still do residential real estate, but probably my passion is more for income property and working with investors. And so for the last maybe 5 years, I've really focused on multi-unit properties, small apartment buildings, really helping people to create wealth through selling certain types of properties,
right,
and moving them into multi-unit properties.
Yeah, because what a lot of people understand, or even by listening to this show, is that is a good way to create wealth. I mean, a lot of people get wealth in stocks or other areas of investing, but definitely income property, multi-unit, commercial, shopping centers, anything like that is anything with passive income is typically a good way to create wealth and have a good life while doing it too.
Sure.
It looks like we actually have a caller already, so we have Les on the line from Stockton. Les, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Hey Les, how you doing?
I'm well, thank you.
Good, thanks for calling in.
Thank you for your time.
No problem. How can we help you?
Well, it doesn't. The type of property I'm interested in getting isn't really to generate money. I've never bought land before. My wife and I plan on retiring on the Big Island of Hawaii, and
There you go.
we're looking at maybe buying a piece of vacant land.
Right.
And I don't know how that works. Is it the same as financing a home, or how does that work?
No, it's actually not the same as financing a home, but the loan process isn't that much different. But basically, there's nothing to invest as a structure on that property. You're really buying an investment in a piece of raw land, and it still has to appraise. So when you are going to get a loan, and how much money are you planning on putting down on that?
We're looking at a piece of land, hopefully nothing more than $150,000, and then we could probably put down 30%.
Okay, that probably is the minimum that they're going to be looking for a raw piece of land.
Typically on raw land.
But that's a good investment. How long until what's the projected timeline before you actually do something with that land?
The soonest would be probably 12 years.
Oh, wow. So, you're going to sit on that land for quite a while. It should appreciate over time on
Definitely.
the Big Island. Whether that, and you're doing that, as a retirement play?
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah, great.
So when it appreciates, then it'll be better to be more attractive to get a construction loan. Is that kind of what that means?
Right.
Oh, yeah, I would think at that time, if you're really going to wait as long as 10 or 12 years to do something on it, by that time you would hope that it would have at least doubled in value, and that would make it that much easier to get a construction loan.
Cool. And typically, what do rates go for when you have to finance, say, half of their land?
They're really not very much different than they are for homes. You probably are going to find something right around 5% right now.
Okay, that's great. I just wanted to get objective information before I reach out to a realtor over there.
Yeah, and that's why we have these. That's why we love people to call in, because you can get this information and take the information and do something with it. If you do need help with, Scott and I are part of a large company in Taro, and we are a part of a network of agents across the country and actually across the globe, and it's a highly screened network of agents that we refer across the country. So if you need help, finding someone to help you buy the land over there, Scott and I'd be happy to connect you with someone that's really good in Hawaii.
Okay, great.
So
how do I contact you guys?
So if you listen to the show, and we'll give our contact information at the end, or you can stick on the line and Ben can take down your information and he'll give it to me, and then we'll get in touch with you this week.
Okay, I'll stick on the line and talk to Ben.
Great. Thanks, Les. Thank you for the call.
Thanks, guys. Have a good day.
All right, you too.
Bye.
Yeah, so that was a good call. It's funny that he brings it up, and I was going to talk to you about it. I was talking with my fiance over the weekend about buying some land, maybe in the mountains or something like that, and just kind of, not that we're going to move or build something there for now, but maybe 5 to 10 years from now we could build something. By that time, it'd be, if we changed our mind, it would have appreciated already, or you can build something on it.
Well, I've got an idea for you along that line. Actually, if you were looking for lots, this is just for you, Mike, but or anybody out there. But if you were looking to buy a piece of land, that was your long-term plan.
Yeah.
My goal or my suggestion to you would be go through the process of getting the utilities out there and putting your well or septic on it.
Yeah.
And then put like a really inexpensive structure on it, a mobile home or something of that sort, if you can get that approved through the city. And then you'll have a rental for those years while you're waiting to help pay for your mortgage.
It's a great idea. And let's talk about that really. I know we weren't really going to talk about land and developing on the show today, but we're on the topic. So,
sure.
And you own property with the well and septic and bringing electrical. Maybe talk a little bit about the ins and outs of that. I know a lot of people that buy land don't realize sometimes you have to put a well on there to get water. Sometimes you have to put septic, have a propane tank. So maybe you can shed some light on that a little bit. Yeah,
well, it's interesting because you and I are working together with a client right now who's looking at lots and land in the Santa Cruz Mountains, actually.
Right.
So when you buy something that's not on a city water system, then you're kind of, what you would consider isolated, and you're in the mountains, so you have to create your own systems.
Right.
And in a lot of cases, not all of them, but you have to dig a well, you have to provide your own septic system for your own sewage, and there's usually no PG&E there, or there's usually PG&E electric, but not gas. So you also have to create, you have a propane tank that everybody's probably seen, a big cylinder. And that, frankly, those companies come out and give those to you for free.
Yeah.
In lieu of their service for a certain amount of time.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
So, the costs on all of those things are variable, but you could expect to spend $30,000 to $50,000 on a well, $30,000 on a septic system and leach field. And then, the tank actually is free, but you have to plumb everything to the house. So
typically with costs like that, what is it as opposed to someone that lives maybe in a suburban neighborhood, that has well in and septic already in that goes to the city? Would you say maybe the cost of getting that into the property is expensive, but once that's there for the lifetime of those wells and everything else, was the cost per month a little bit cheaper?
It actually is. I have a well on my property now, well and septic. So now the only cost that I have in water, which is going to become pretty interesting this year because there's some significant fines for people that go over their water usage.
Right.
This year I've heard a lot about that.
Yeah,
lately.
because of the drought.
Well, I don't worry about that.
Right.
I have a well. It's
Right.
got 50,000 gallons of water in it, but the only cost, so I never pay for water again.
Right.
But the cost I have is in extra electricity to pump that water from the holding tank that comes from the well to my property, to my structure.
Excellent.
So I have a little higher electricity cost, but I'll never have a water cost.
Definitely. Well, hey, if you're thinking about buying land, give us a call today. What we're going to talk about, but anyways, give us a call, 1-800-516-1220, 1-800-516-1220. Got Scott Poncetta in studio. We're going to be getting into multi-unit investments on the next segment. We'll catch you on the other side of the break.
Welcome back to Real Estate 360, streaming live on iHeart, TuneIn, and KDOW.biz. For more information on today's topic or guest, just visit RE360radio.com. That's RE360radio.com. Again, your host for today's edition of RE360 Radio, Mike D'Ambrosio.
Welcome back. This is Mike D'Ambrosio on RE360 Radio, AM 1220 KDOW, the Wall Street Business Network. We're talking live in studio today with Scott Poncetta from Intero, the Income Property Group. Scott and I work together. Scott's a semi-regular guest on the show, and we always talk investments and all that good stuff when he's on the show. And if you have any questions for Scott or for myself, and we had a good call earlier, 1-800-516-1220, 1-800-516-1220, and we'll get you on the air and help you out. So let's actually get into what we wanted to talk about today. It's good that we got a little off track, but it was information I don't think we've ever talked about on the show, so that was good.
Awesome.
Yeah, so let's talk about multi-unit, though. What's going on with it since the last time you were on the show? With residential, it's pretty closely mirroring the low inventory, and I know people that listen to this show hear that buzz, those two words a lot, low inventory. And, as far as single family goes, we're still hovering around 1,000 units on the market in Santa Clara County. So what's going on with multi-unit?
Multi-unit's not that much different. It's very scarce inventory, but that's all relative. I really focus, and I want to clarify this, is I focus on Santa Clara County, San Mateo County, and Santa Cruz County.
And when he's talking multi-unit, we're talking duplexes, triplexes, fourplexes, and up apartment complexes. Right. Just to clarify that.
Yeah. And the way we do that is 2, 3, 4 units are kind of in one class, and then 5 plus, anything 5 and higher is considered commercial property.
Correct.
And my focus is 5 to say 20.
Right.
So the inventory is light, but actually it's improving every day. It closely mirrors what the residential market's doing, and I'll talk a little bit more about that. But as of today, the real scarcity is in the 5 plus units.
Right.
There's quite a lot of duplexes available. 3s and 4s, even as of yesterday, there were 149 opportunities in those 3 counties. And then 5 plus, though, this is the difference. Just 3s and 4s were 149. 5 plus is 19.
Oh, my gosh.
I know. That's like...
And why do you think that is? I mean, do you think because people are making money on these properties and they really don't want to get rid of them?
That's true.
Right?
Once you've held on to something like that, it should be a good investment from day one, or you shouldn't buy it.
Right.
But once you hold on to those properties and start to watch your loan getting paid down, your cash flow just increases over time. So if these people have held on to them for a long time, which a lot of them have, there's no better place to put your money.
Right.
There's no reason for them to sell. And sure, we talk to people every day, and there are events that happen in life, transitional events that make people do that.
Right.
Retirement may be one of them. Somebody passes away is another one. But generally speaking, if you've seen somebody sit in a commercial property, a 5 plus unit for over 5 years, they're going to have a real hard time placing that money and making more money.
Yeah, and then especially with rents the way they're going right now too. I mean, those are just continually increasing, and sellers in residential real estate are seeing bidding wars on their houses for buying, but we're seeing bidding wars in rentals, for rents. So I don't know.
That's true. I actually just listed one of my rentals. It's a 2-bedroom, 2-bath. And I probably had 40 emails in the first 24 hours.
Jeez. Just off of Craigslist advertising?
Just off of Craigslist.
Wow.
Yeah. I put it other places, but mostly off of Craigslist. So, but going back to the inventory, it's light right now, but there are some decent opportunities. Every once in a while, I really see something that makes a lot of sense. In fact, I just wrote an offer over the weekend, and it was in Morgan Hill for a 4-plex, and I think this is a really interesting deal and kind of unexpected.
Right. Definitely. And, we're going to get in. We got to take a quick break, but we're going to get into a little bit more about rents, leveraging your existing property, the value of leveraging in real estate. Scott's going to reference a couple articles that came out recently, too. So a lot to get to. And if you got any questions or comments for Scott or myself, give us a call, 1-800-516-1220. 1-800-516-1220. Scott Poncetta, Mike D'Ambrosio on KDOW.
Welcome back to Real Estate 360, streaming live on iHeart, TuneIn, and KDOW.biz. For more information on today's topic or guest, just visit RE360radio.com. That's RE360radio.com. Again, your host for today's edition of RE360 Radio, Mike D'Ambrosio.
Welcome back. This is Mike D'Ambrosio on RE360 Radio, KDOW AM 1220, Wall Street Business Network. We're coming to you live in studio today with Scott Poncetta from Intero Real Estate, the Income Property Group. And we're talking anything and everything real estate. We're talking investments today. If you got any questions for Scott or myself, 1-800-516-1220, 1-800-516-1220. We got a few more points to get to today, but we do have another caller on the line. We have Walt in Berkeley. Walt, are you there?
Yes, I am. Thank you for taking my call.
Hey, Walt. Yeah, thank you for calling in. How you doing?
Well, I'm doing okay.
Yeah.
I've got a question for Scott.
Good.
Just listening to his bio, and my question is, how do you find the investors? How do you locate the investors to put together real estate developments?
Right, Scott.
Oh, that's a great question. There's a lot of this happening right now, and when you first reach out to family and friends. That's how I got started. But essentially what I did was I provided a guaranteed return and then a percentage of the upside in the deals that I was creating. So where I went to find those people, it's a good question. It was a long time ago for me. But once I did one or two deals and I could show the balance sheet on those, then I actually, today, if I were doing it over again, I actually have a network, so it wouldn't be a big problem. But there are groups out there where there's active investor groups. And, one of them, I was just talking to Mike because we saw your question ahead of time, is there's actually, if you've heard of a website called Meetup. Well, Meetup is a portal that allows people to connect. And if you go on there and put real estate investment in, there are a lot of groups all over the Bay Area where real estate investors get together. And, usually there's an educational topic or element to it, but really it's a place to network with other people that are looking for investment opportunities. In fact, there's one in Santa Cruz tomorrow night. I don't know the exact name of it, but if you wanted to hold on the line, we would be able to find that for you. And I don't know which area. Excuse me?
I would definitely stay on the line and get that contact. But pretty much, the peninsula is an attractive place right now, and I wouldn't mind focusing in that area.
Yeah. So are you? Yeah. Well, there's quite a bit of money in that area too. So are you looking to develop a custom home, or are you looking to renovate and remodel homes and flip them, or are you looking for something bigger than that? I'm just curious as to which direction.
Well, let me just say all of the above. Custom homes, an easier place to start is refurbishing, remodeling, buying something and basically making it more attractive, putting lipstick on it.
Yep, sure. We call it lipstick on a pig.
That's
but
right.
Yeah, that's a flipper market. It's a super active and very competitive market right now, but one where people that know what they're doing are making a lot of money.
Right.
Definitely. Well, yeah, if you want to stick on the line, we'll get your information, and Scott can get you that info from Meetup. But to kind of summarize your original question, too, we're basically saying, family, friends, business contact networks, et cetera, is where you probably find most of your initial investors. And I think as you get some steam, generate some steam and get going, it'll probably be easier, and you'll find yourself attracted to other different investors in the area of real estate too. It'll become pretty easy.
The one thing I would really say in that regard is maybe you have to find other investors that you don't know real well to start off with.
Right.
But I just caution you that it's real important that you trust the people that you're going into business with.
Sure.
And, that's common sense, but boy, that gets people in trouble. If those contracts aren't super tight and, if you don't know the person you're in business with, it can get kind of sticky.
Definitely make sure you got good contract verbiage and you got a good attorney helping you out with that too. Anyways, we've got to take a break. Great call, Walt. Thank you very much. You are listening to RE360 Radio. And give us a call if you have any other questions, 1-800-516-1220. Scott and Mike on the radio.
Welcome back to Real Estate 360, streaming live on iHeart, TuneIn, and KDOW.biz. For more information on today's topic or guest, just visit RE360radio.com. That's RE360radio.com. Again, your host for today's edition of RE360 Radio, Mike D'Ambrosio.
Welcome back. This is Mike D'Ambrosio on RE360 Radio, KDOW AM 1220. We'll Talking live in studio today with Scott Poncetta from Intero, the Income Property Group. Talking investments as we always do when Scott's on the show. If you got any questions for Scott or myself, give us a call, 1-800-516-1220, 1-800-516-1220. All right, let's get back into it because had a couple great calls, and we have some other content we want to get to, but you know, the whole idea is a lot of people, I think, that listen to the show, you know, are invested, obviously, interested in real estate and real estate investing. And maybe some people don't have the cash flow or don't have the money saved to invest in some, especially in the Bay Area, investing in real estate.
Money.
Right, yeah. Exactly. And so how can they do that without it, right? So maybe they own property that they can leverage into other investments, or maybe they know people that own property. So why don't we talk a little bit about that? Because I think it's, especially in a market like this, which is a seller's market or a market where you've gained some equity in your property in the past couple of years, right, it might be a good time to think about it.
Well, you know, you started that question by saying people without a lot of money. Well, it doesn't really work in the Bay Area if you don't have some kind of money. Yeah, but right. You're right. You know, I mean, one of the things we were going to talk about, and we'll get to a little later, is partnerships. And, you know, this guy has 80, this guy has 100, and it actually kind of dovetails into what Walt's question was. Right. I see people, little groups forming to put together little real estate investment groups. I'm working with one of them right now. But I think what you were talking about and what we really try and do in our investors is we try and find people that actually do have property and have had property for a while, but usually right, single family homes and townhomes and things like that where they've created equity. Right. But you just can't generate a ton of cash flow out of it because you're limited to one revenue stream. Right. So what I really try and work with is people that own these kind of properties and single family home that's, say, they've had for 10 years or 15 years, and it has $500,000 of equity in it. Right. Well, that $500,000 of equity is not working hard for them in that single family home. Of course, yeah. They're getting mild increases in rent, which is great. One income stream, right? One income stream. Right. And, they're getting some appreciation, but we saw how that can change in 2008. Certainly. But anyway, so we take that $500,000 of equity, which frankly leveraged at 75%, could get you into something around $1.8 or $2 million. Right. So, and that might be worth $1 million. And that is we're trying to help people build wealth. Right. Make cash flow along the way, but really build wealth. And you build wealth by leveraging other people's money in real estate.
I want to go back to what you just said because maybe some people missed it. But basically what Scott is saying is, let's say you had 500 that came out of a sale of a property and you can leverage that into something else, right? So that 500 could be equal 25 to 30% of a down payment. Correct, to leverage with a loan into a bigger property of $1.8 to $2 million. And that's what Scott was saying. I mean, just think about it. Some people may have bought a condo, and God bless you if you did, in Mountain View or something like that 20 years ago, right? For $200,000. Right. Imagine what that's worth right now. It's probably worth more near $1,900,000, depending on where it is and that's right, whatnot. But I mean, that's a healthy chunk of change to leverage into something else.
That's right. Let's say they have $700,000 in equity in that right, little house on Hope Street in downtown Mountain View. Right. It's probably actually worth $1.2 million right now. But yeah, I mean, that is, to me, the strategy that I like the most to help people with is let's take that equity and help that equity, make it work for you, make it work hard for you.
And put it into something with multiple revenue streams. So what we mean by that is put it into a fourplex with 4 different renters, or an 8plex, or...
Yeah, if you're working with 700, you actually could probably acquire 2 to 3 fourplexes.
Right. So now you're talking 12 units, possibly.
That's right. So that's actually, I've got a really good client right now who's selling 4 single-family homes in San Jose. Yeah. And they're going to come out of that. They only bought those 3 years ago, but they're going to come out of that with $800,000 in equity. Right. And our goal is to find them a small apartment building between $2.5 million and $3 million. the difference in cash flow and a 10-year projection on what they will make off that is so significant that it's just undeniable when you start to look at the real numbers.
And the reason why it's undeniable too is because of rents in the area. I mean, we are in the Silicon Valley, which has all of the jobs, lack of land, right? And we've talked about this on the show a lot before. You're going to have renters here for a long time, and we're going to talk about an article in the Mercury that just came out. Maybe you could touch on that because it's probably a good time to do that. But what did the article say?
The title to this article is "Rents Expected to Rise for a Fifth Consecutive Year as Demand Surges."
Right.
In this article, the important part of it is that they don't see any change in the foreseeable future.
Right.
There was basically a halt on building for about 4 years because nobody could get any money, and we are continually building jobs here, and it's going to continue to do that. So there's projected out. They just think that it's going to continue to increase. There's got to be some point at which people can't afford it.
Right.
And that's what this article is really talking about.
Well, yeah, I mean, and we just had Josh Burrows from Barry Swenson on the show last week, and he was talking about how there's going to be there is developments going on and whatnot, but it's not keeping up with how many jobs are coming in the area. It's just not. It's not enough.
Right. It isn't. And that's what makes this such a safe long-term investment.
Exactly.
Some of the returns, you actually can get better returns in Alabama or North Dakota's super hot right now. But overall, in those markets, you don't get any appreciation.
Right.
You get a little bit better. You get better cash flow. But over the long haul, you're not leveraging that money the way you can here. It's more expensive, but it's proven to be very safe money.
Definitely. We got to take a quick break. You're listening to RE360 Radio. Scott Poncetta is in studio today. A great show so far. Call us 1-800-516-1220, 1-800-516-1220. We're talking investment property on RE360 Radio.
For more information on today's program, visit RE360Radio.com. That's RE360Radio.com. Welcome back to Real Estate 360, streaming live on iHeart, TuneIn, and KDOW.biz. For more information on today's topic or guest, just visit RE360Radio.com. That's RE360Radio.com. Again, your host for today's edition of RE360 Radio, Mike D'Ambrosio.
Welcome back. This is Mike D'Ambrosio on RE360 Radio, KDOW AM 1220. We've had a great show with Scott Poncetta in studio today. Scott's from Intero, like me, with the Income Property Group, talking about investment properties, and had a couple callers. It's been a really good show. And we're going to kind of wrap things up here, but one of the main points we wanted to drive home today is leveraging money, moolah. So talk about that real quick.
Okay, yeah, this is one of the keys to real estate investing. My dad taught me this at a very young age, but I want to make it as simple as I can. So leveraging money means using other people's money to buy something. And so here's a very simple example. Let's say that you bought $1 million fourplex, and you put $250,000 down on that. So that's the money that's working for you is $250,000. Well, if that property goes up 5% in the first year, okay, then that's an increase of $50,000.